just fly, fly away. And I always knew I couldn't stay. So I had a dream that I'd just fly away, away. Oh, I'd fly away.
Hey guys, welcome to our year-end event. All right, let's see some faces and let's see where's everyone from. Okay, we have a lot of people from the East Coast as well as the West Coast. And we don't see a lot of people from Asia, do we? A couple of people from Singapore where I'm at. So welcome to ADPList's final year-end event where we talk about giving voice. So my name is Felix and I'm one of the co-founders at ADPList, joined by an amazing panel today, which are all of them amazing friends of mine. And I would like to welcome them to this panel. And also before that, I'll share a little bit about what ADPList and what today's event would mean to the rest of the community. It's a very special event and I can't wait to share more with you. So ADPList started in April this year during the pandemic. And our mission is to really help designers to connect them to mentors from around the world. And we have been doing thousands of mentorships since we started. And we have reached over 1 million organic traffic on our website. That's incredible, just within 6 months. And I can't thank you all enough for that and the wonderful team behind this amazing initiative. So today's event is really special. It's called Giving Voice. And the team and I brainstorm around that. Why do we want to name the event as Giving Voice? It was because when we started, it was really just about giving voice to the community of designers from all around the world. Because we know how hard it can be sometimes sitting in a room as a designer and not having your voice be heard. So today we invited a couple of people to our panel that actually shares us, how they broke into the industry. And two of them are actually not a designer, but they're sort of like a matchmaker for people on LinkedIn, and they're actually very popular themselves. So today we have Jonathan, Jerry, and Grace. So Jonathan is one of the really popular LinkedIn influencers. If you hang out on LinkedIn very often, like I do, you probably know Jonathan himself, as well as Jerry, which is his co-founder from Wonsulting. So I'll let them take the introduction later on. But Jerry is also one of the LinkedIn top voices of 2020. So congrats, Jerry. And finally, we have Grace, who is the co-founder of Design Buddies. And she just got her full-time role at the Electronic Arts EA, so as a designer. So congrats, Grace. And we're so happy to have you here and all the Design Buddies community members here as well. So with that said, I would like to hand over my time to Jonathan, Jerry, and Grace for a quick introduction. Go for it, guys.
Awesome. Well, first off, Felix and team, thank you so much for having us. Really do appreciate it. How's everyone doing? What's everybody's energy level at right now? Let's see it. 1 to 10. Let's see it. 1 to 10. Hyped. Ahmed. I'm hyped too. Cameron. All right. Vatch. 8. That's a B. That's a B. Oh, Grace is so hyped. She has her little stuffed animal. 8, but 10 after. Hell yeah, feeling good, Christina. You know why? Because you just heard that song before this, okay? Anyways, everybody, thank you so much for having us. I really do appreciate it. I'm assuming we're doing introductions. I'll start. My name is Jonathan Javier. I'm the CEO of Wonsulting, which our mission is to turn underdogs into winners. So helping those who come from non-traditional backgrounds and help you all get into your dream careers. And so far, we've helped thousands of people do so. And we love doing it. We love helping others. I previously worked at Snapchat, Google, and Cisco before moving to doing Wonsulting full-time about 3 months ago. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. And has anybody heard about Wonsulting before this? If you do have, said yes. If not, say no. I don't know. Where have you heard about it from? I just want to kind of see where you guys heard it from. LinkedIn? Cool. Awesome. Our work is done. I'm kidding. Awesome. Subtle Asian network. Awesome. All right. I'll hand it off to Jerry.
Cool. Thanks, John. What is up, everybody? First, I want to thank ADPList for inviting us. There are 145 of you guys here, plus the people on YouTube Live. Thank you guys so much for sharing your evening, morning, and afternoons with us. I want to hear what your guys' areas of interest are. What career fields are you guys in? Are you guys in engineering, in marketing, and sales? Type them out in below. Okay, everyone's UX. Perfect. Product design, game UX, electrical engineering. Okay. Gloria, the only one in marketing. Okay, I'm just kidding. Cool. Okay, awesome. So a lot of you guys are in UX, product, a little bit of marketing, university staff. Love it. Well, thank you guys so much for once again. My name is Jerry, and I'm the COO of Wonsulting. A little bit of background about me is I come from a first-gen low-income background where I know firsthand what it means to find your dream job, right? And the difficulties that it comes with it if you don't come from a background that's well connected. And that's the work that I do at Wonsulting and on LinkedIn. And so thankfully, LinkedIn has awarded me LinkedIn Top Voice within the tech field for all the career development advice that I share for people to get into the tech space. And I am so excited to be here with you guys. And with that, I'll pass it over to Grace.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here. I've been attending ADPList events since the after hours, and I thought it was so woke, and I'm really excited to be on here. And yeah, so I'm Grace. I founded Design Buddies back in April, and I've seen it kind of grown to over 12,700 members now, and we're just hosting a game jam, so it's super exciting. But full-time, I'm a designer at Electronic Arts, and previously, I've interned there since June. I actually come from like a non-design background. So I actually studied bio and computer engineering in school, and I was previously pre-med and everything, and then game design, and then VR, and then now I found my way into UX and product design. So been through a lot of career path changes, been through a lot of interesting people throughout my journey. And for fun, I like to table at anime conventions. I actually make pins. Like I have this little lychee cat pin I made just for fun. And I have like a bunny family. I love bunnies. So they're everywhere. They're even design buddies right here, bunnies and cats and everything like that too. And so that's something I do for fun. I also love to run. I was previously aspiring marathoner and like Olympic runner before. And that was like my other life goal. And then I also like to create content on my social media and blog to help designers, students, and community builders. So that's what I do on the side. But my main job is I'm a designer at EA and run Design Buddies. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much to the three of you for that amazing introduction. So guys, just put down in your comments, just put in the comment section about what are some of the things that you have learned in 2020. Let's start off with, reflecting a little bit about what this is about. And as you can tell from the entire panel, so John, Jerry, Grace, and myself, we don't come from a traditional background. And just a little bit about me, because I realized that, I haven't done a quick introduction, is that I also don't come from a design background, even though I'm a design lead right now at Gotrade. I actually came from an engineering school. So in that sense, we're all underdogs here, and we're all, once fighting for our voice to be heard. And right now, we want to share that with you by reflecting on 2020, which has been a really crazy year for everyone, not just in Singapore, not just in US, but around the world. As we know, we can't travel. So that is huge. And we want to start off the session by actually reflecting a little bit about 2020 and what has 2020 been for all of us here and what have we learned, right? So maybe I'll just pass the time to the three of them and let them get started, right? So John, Jerry, and Grace, I have a really big question for all of you to start off this panel today, which is what has happened to you in 2020 and what are you most grateful for so far?
Yeah. Should I start? Cool.
Yeah, go for it.
Let's do it. All right, everybody. In one word, I want you to summarize how's 2020 been for you in one word. Let's see in the chat real quick. Let's just see one word. I know it could be many words, but let's just get one word. Someone said fuck. Change, rad, challenging, introspective. Oh my gosh, lots of words. Oh my gosh, lots of words of wisdom. All right, one word, one phrase that I always say all the time, especially, is rejection. Who here has been rejected by a role that they applied to or got furloughed or got laid off because of COVID-19? A lot of you, right? No worries at all. Rejection is redirection. That's my favorite saying. And the reason why is this, because 2020 has taught us that although some of our jobs got furloughed, some of our jobs got laid off, at the end of the day, rejection is simply redirection. You never fail as long as you never stop trying. Is that correct? So I still remember, everybody, when I was in February or March, my job actually got affected by COVID-19 layoffs. And I still remember thinking it was the end of the world, but in fact, it was the beginning. And that's when I actually transitioned to going to Cisco full-time. I mean, not Cisco full-time, Wonsulting full-time, because I was like, man, why not make an impact here in regards to helping people get jobs, right? And so whenever something happens to each and every one of you, whether it's rejection from a specific company, whether it's you reaching out to a recruiter and they not responding, it's totally fine. At the end of the day, you only need one yes and one opportunity for you to get into your career. Always remember that. I think what happens nowadays, we focus on the people who don't respond or the rejections that we receive, when in fact we should be focusing on the positivity and the ones that do respond, because those are the ones that truly matter. Does it make sense? So I think that's what sums up my 2020. Does that sum up some of yours? Yes, no, maybe so, maybe.
I'm sure everyone is like hyping up in the comment section. Wow.
Awesome. I'll hand it off to Jerry.
Jerry, Go for it, Jerry.
Yeah. So something that I went through this past year is I actually worked at Google, and that's where I started my career in the first 3 years of me working, right? And I made the decision that I wanted to leave, right? And when I left, I was thinking, man, like, it's at the middle of the pandemic. No companies are hiring. Companies are firing people. They're laying off people. They're furloughing people. And there's no one who's going to be recruiting, right? Who here's thought that, especially during the pandemic, or maybe even still now, that a lot of companies aren't hiring, that it's impossible for me to get a job? Type me in the chat if you guys felt that way in the past, call it 9 months, right? A lot of you guys. I felt the exact same thing. My mentors told me that, no, Jerry, like, you should at least wait another year. But I knew that it was time for me to go, right? And so one thing that 2020 has taught me is that, thankfully, through the networking strategies that I'm sure we'll cover today, that I was able to interview for 10 companies in 6 weeks. And guess how many job applications I sent out for me to get those 10 interviews? Guess how many job applications? Type them out in the chat. 200. 10,000, over 9,000, 4,200, 420. Whoa, Gerald, please relax. Okay, you gotta keep speechy. No, I'm just kidding. Right. So for me, I sent about 3 applications. You guys, then you might be thinking, well, Jerry, how did you get 10 interviews if you only spent 3 applications? And that's exactly what I want to cover today. Yes, Ruth, it is a strong flex, because I want to show you guys that every time people think about job search, they always think about clicking apply, right? They think about clicking that apply button, but how often does that actually lead you to interviews? Statistically, there's a 2% chance for you to get an interview, right? So I want to share with you guys that there is hope at the end of the tunnel, because as I always like to say, as Jonathan always likes to say, right? How many yeses do you need? How many full-time jobs do you need? I want to see a number on the chat. All you need is 1, right? So with that, that's what I want to leave you guys with, at least what I've learned in 2020, that there is hope. And through all the rejections and all the no's that you'll see, you're fighting to just get that 1 yes. So with that, I'll pass it over to Grace.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, definitely all you need is 1 yes. I've definitely been through a lot of rejections because I came from non-design background, and so low background. Compared to 2019, 2020 was honestly, I'm gonna get some hate for this, but awesome. So it was, well, at first it sucked really bad, but so a little background is I graduated undergrad in 2019 with a degree in bioengineering, and then I kind of wanted to break into tech and to go into design. However, I had a lot of professors at my school. I actually did really poorly on the GRE. I got like 15th percentile out of all my scores. So I was like, I don't think I can go to any grad school. So I just did the same school as my undergrad, because I didn't need to take the GRE, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. And I had a lot of professors telling me, like, Grace, your degree is in bioengineering. Why aren't you like working in that? You should stay in your lane. You're not qualified to do design. My 14-year-old daughter does design. Your degree is in bioengineering. Stay in your lane, and things like that. And so I was just like, okay, well, when people tell me no, it really means a yes. And I don't really like it when people tell me no. So I knew I wanted to prove them wrong. And so I tried to go on the internet and find more designers to hang out with and to just like know more about the field. However, I felt like the communities I was in, like I felt like an outsider and I felt judged for being a beginner or judged for like not having a design degree. And so it was around end of 2019, beginning of 2020 before the pandemic hit. And I was just like kind of feeling a little left out of everyone. And I just felt like really uncomfortable, really scared reaching out to people. And I just felt like a small potato student. And I was kind of scared and I was getting rejected, getting ghosted everywhere and just being a small potato overall. And then pandemic hit and I realized, wow, everyone's online. And I was just like, I want to make some more design friends, but I feel like I didn't belong in other design communities at that time. So I started my own. And that's how Design Buddies was born, because I wanted to make some buddies in design. So design buddies, and I really like bunnies and I like to run. So I always associated myself with bunnies. And 2020 really taught me that like design community is actually really nice. And the more I meet designers, the more I realize that they're so empathetic. And out of the other fields I was in, like engineering and medicine, and everyone just like so much nicer, so much more inclusive. In engineering and medicine, people would judge me hella hard if I didn't know some kind of obscure theory and stuff. But in design, they're super welcoming, super inclusive. So it really taught me that people on the internet are generally really nice. There's definitely normal to encounter some weird people out there, but then again, you don't owe them anything. You don't have to respond. And so really just focus on the positive people and reach out to people on the internet, join communities. And I realized like so many communities are popping up online and just reaching out to people. And so many designers like on ADPList are open to help people. And so really 2020 has taught me like people are more connected and people are nicer as much as you reach out. And 2020 has, I feel like, made people more connected over the world on the internet. So take advantage of that.
All right, thank you so much, Grace, for that, and I totally can relate because ADPList and Design Buddies has been in partners for quite a long time right now, a couple of months. Mm-hmm. So that's really exciting. And John and Jerry, and thank you for sharing your story of being an underdog. And Jerry, I'm just so blown away by your story. You just applied for free and you got 10 interviews. I think that is where we are going to lead on to our next question. And to add on to Grace's point, guys, 2020 has really shown us something that the internet has never seen before. We've seen communities pop out of nowhere, and people are not more connected than ever before in a world of, in a remote working world. And that just comes to show that when we put our differences aside, we start to realize that we are more similar than we are different. So I think that's something that I personally learned in 2020 as well, and I'm really grateful for that. So a lot of people have been asking in the comment section, Jerry, how did you get 10 interviews with free applications? And I'm pretty sure Jonathan and Grace can speak to that as well. So let's jump into the networking tips and tricks and strategies, however you want to call it, on how do you get 10 interviews with just free job applications. So Jerry, you want to start? Go for it.
Yeah. And I asked Jonathan to close his ears because he's going to be mad that I'm going to share too many secrets. All right. So, but this is exactly what we talk about at Wonsulting. This is how we help people. This is how we specifically work with people, right? How I think about job applications, people always think job applications equals clicking apply online. I want you guys to disassociate that. In my mind, that there are 4 tiers of applying to a job. At the lowest level and at the most effective level, right? Tier 4 is what we call a job application. It has a 2% chance of getting an interview, not very effective. It's, to be honest, it just puts you in line with everybody else, right? The third tier, tier 3, is what a referral. A referral is what you would call, if I submit your resume internally when I was at Google, what that would mean, depending on the company size, would mean that your resume gets reviewed by somebody. That's it. It just bumps your resume up to the top of the list. It doesn't guarantee you anything. And that is at most where people stop. But then it comes the question of, okay, Jerry, well, if these are the things that most people do, what are the things that people don't do, right? And this is what we call tier 1 and tier 2. Tier 1 is what we call a hiring manager recommendation, and tier 2 is what we call a hiring team member recommendation. Let me explain. So when you guys think about a hiring manager, what do you guys think? Type it down in the chat. What is a hiring manager? Director, gatekeeper, God, whoa, Katan, please. Human, okay, yep. So Someone who can make this decision. Exactly, right? Felix, you have it. It is typically a manager. It is a director. Very, very few are VPs unless you're going for managerial roles or upper level. But it is someone who's actually the manager who has an open rec on their team, right? And a hiring team member is someone who's on the team where they're hiring. And so the reason why it's so important to understand these 4 tiers is because people typically flip them. People typically go from, okay, I'm going to apply online just so I have my resume in the system, and then I'm going to try to network my way in. But the problem with that is that the role gets filled before you talk to anybody, you are now classified as a rejected candidate. If you are classified as a rejected candidate internally at a company, that doesn't mean that you can suddenly just get an interview the next day. Otherwise, you're going to be breaking the recruiting policies that they have. Depending on companies, it's going to be anywhere from about 3, 6, 9, or 12 months. So what is a better way to go about this? If you see an open role, right? The best way for you to go about it is go from tier 1 to tier 4. And so the way that you want to go from it is tier 1 to tier 4. So if for a role that you're looking for, let's say it's a design, it's a UX designer for Amazon, for AWS, right? The first thing you want to do is find all the hiring managers, reach out to all the hiring managers. If you can't find, or the hiring managers don't reach out to you, then you want to go to the hiring team members, right? And try to get them to vouch for you to the manager. If you can't, then do the referrals. And if you can't get a referral, then do the resumes. That's how I've been able to land 10 interviews with just 3 job applications, right? At the end of the day, people look for 2 things when they recruit you, right? They look for hard skills and they look for soft skills. Your resume does a decent job for you to find hard skills, right? But no one can understand how you work, who you are as a person, your personality, how hard you work by just looking at a piece of paper. And that's why networking with hiring managers and hiring team members is the way to go for you to land interviews and for you to jump up in line. And Gab, exactly, on LinkedIn, that's the way that we do them.
Cool. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's actually how I got my first job at Snapchat. But yeah, no, I totally agree. What y'all should do too as well, if you guys need networking tips, follow us on TikTok. Oh my gosh, I love TikTok. I'm obsessed. We actually
Dude, you just went viral.
We gained 60,000 followers in 6 days. Woo, man!
I saw that, man.
Me dancing too much. Me dancing too much and holding my pen anyway. I'm just kidding. Anyways, but yeah, I totally agree. Networking is basically key, everybody. So for example, I'm just gonna keep going on. Nice. Keep going on with what Jerry said. Here, I'm gonna put the TikTok right there. But yeah, so for example, everybody, let's just say you're going for UX designer, right? How many people do you think apply to a UX designer at? Give me a company. Someone give me a company in the chat. I'll do the first company. Twitch. How many people do you think applied to a UX designer at Twitch? Thousands, right? Let's just say, oh my God, Daniel said 300,000. It's a lot. Let's just say 500, right? Tier 4, that's tier 4. How many people do you think get referred? Tier 3, specifically just from someone random, right? Okay, let's just say 100. Let's go with Cameron's. 100, right? How many people do you think actually get referred by someone, let's just say UX designer on that team? How many people do you think get recommended by them? 5, let's just say 5, right? Tier 1, how many people do you think actually get recommended by the hiring manager who's actually hiring for the role? 2, 1, let's say 1. How many roles are available? 1. Everybody, if you're a recruiter or a hiring manager, what would you look at first? The applications or the people that you literally just recommended? It's the latter, right? So what happens is this: the system doesn't teach you guys that why your application is not getting looked at is because why would a recruiter or hiring manager ever go look at the applications? That's why they put it through ATS, because there's thousands of people, right? But imagine you instead reaching out to the hiring managers and recruiters and then getting recommended by them, right? That is exactly how you specifically stand out as a candidate and how you can approach them. Yeah, ATS is horrible, right? ATS systems. Why would you want to go through the ATS system when you can just go reach out to the recruiters or the hiring team members, right? And how y'all can do that? Yeah, I mean, you can check the TikTok. There's a lot of different networking strategies there. We also talk about in our course and stuff like that. But literally, that is why you should be networking. What you can also be doing is networking with people at the company and then asking them like, hey, who's the hiring manager on this team, et cetera, right? I think that's very important to do, because then you're able to see internally who they're specifically looking for and what roles they're hiring for. So That's what I would say.
That is
Hopefully,
that is
does it make
some
sense?
really,
Does it make sense?
yeah.
Okay.
Guys, drop it in the comments. Right. Okay, there's a
And-
lot of different comments.
And he said, if they don't respond, guess what? You move on. There's millions of other people who will respond to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Remember what I said before? Focus on the people who respond rather than the people who don't.
Yeah. And the question that I keep seeing here is everyone's asking, how do I reach out to them? Right? That is the ultimate question. The way that I always recommend people is on one side of the spectrum, you can say, hi, please give me a job, right? Or you send a meme, right? But you can, on one side of the spectrum, you can say, please give me a job. The other one is being as, discreet as possible and saying, hey, I'd love to talk to you to learn a little bit more about the roles that you're hiring for, but also just to learn a little bit more about what you do on a day-to-day so I can potentially think about applying to that role. The best way I found to be most helpful is to be direct as humanly possible and say, hey, I'm reaching out because I see that you're hiring for a role. I would love to introduce myself, reach out to and just learn more about the role before I apply. Why is that the best way? Because at the end of the day, most people are going to go to hiring managers, and hiring managers are people are just going to be like, please choose me, please hire me. But when you go into the conversation with the mentality that, hey, I'm not even at the application phase yet, I'm just trying to learn more. What does that do to the conversation? It suddenly changes the power of conversation from you pitching yourself to the hiring manager now pitching the role to you. And if you can get to that phase, that's how you almost guarantee yourself an interview, right? And as John said, like we talk about this, we work with people on a one-on-one basis, but like that by and large is how you go about it, right? You never want to go in saying, hey, I just want to talk and learn a little bit more about the role and before I apply or whatever. You never want to go in saying, hey, I know I'm perfect for the role and just assume. You want to make sure that you're as direct as possible.
Wow. Thank you so much, John and Jerry, for that. I am just so blown away because I have never actually, truth to be told, I've never actually applied for a job. And I find that like really relatable because all I do is just, networking and getting into people's door and, getting coffees basically, right? And I'm sure Grace has done the same because Grace just got a full-time role. Maybe Grace, you want to share a little bit about your experience and also how whatever that John and Jerry said, does that relate to you? I'm pretty sure that you're in close contact with them. So share a little bit about that experience from real life perspective.
Yeah, of course. So I actually got into EA as an intern without applying. It was 100% through networking, without a job description. So the hiring manager I contacted on LinkedIn, who I cold reached out to, wrote me a job description. How that happened was, and so a little background is I started learning design for the first time ever in October 2019. So that's when my experience started. So I just have just a little more than 1 year of experience. I'm working full time now. And I've basically done a lot of work on the back end. On top of networking, I also, as a designer, not only is it important to learn the fundamentals, but it's important to keep networking and keep practicing. And how I would practice without getting a job is doing a lot of hackathons. I did 10 hackathons and design challenges and meeting people, working for startups, freelancing to try to get experience. So I could talk about these because I still had to interview. So I did that on the side of networking too. So it was in January till May, and I was just like kind of lost in the dark. So January till May, I was interviewing. My first interview was actually with a FANG company, and I got made to the last round, and then I got thrown off by a question. And so I was really discouraged by that, but I kept submitting my application online and getting ghosted everywhere. And being frustrated. And then for me, I've always networked, even outside of design. I'm part of this group called Subtle Asians Bay Area on Facebook. And that's how I met one of my other mentors, who is a senior recruiter in the biotech space. His name is Byung. And he gave me this really woke tip of just like sliding in DMs on LinkedIn. And so what he taught me to do, what happened was, this was from March till May when I was getting ghosted and rejected everywhere. He gave me this really woke tip of advice that I carried on that helped me land into EA, is that he told me to look up design director or look up design senior manager on LinkedIn, filter by company, filter by location, and add all of them with this personalized message. And I'll be like, hello, I'm Grace. I am a computer science and engineering grad student. Working towards a career in UX and product design, and would love to know how you got to where you are today. I did that 400 times and did 30 coffee chats. And Marlon, my current manager, he responded, and he basically was my foot in the door. Really, really grateful, Marlon from EA. Shout out to Marlon. And what happened was, throughout these calls, after these 30 coffee chats, and these people, sometimes they weren't in a position to hire because their company was COVID frozen, freezing hiring. They became long-term mentors. So sometimes I will ask them questions about how do I negotiate salary, and some things like I don't want to directly ask like my current team and things like that. And so that's why it's so important to keep building up the connections, because not every connection will land you a job, but it can land you like a lifelong connection, like a lifelong mentor. And basically how these chats would go is, I would like to reiterate what Felix said from the last event is, if you ask for a job, you get advice. If you ask for advice, you get a job. So this is what I carried on to all my calls. I would make the call about them. I would just like ask about, hey, how did you get into design? I'd love to learn about your story and find things in common and kind of just vibe personally with them and just be their friend. And Marlon asked me like what I was doing this summer, and I was like, I don't know. I am lost. I am COVID lost. I'm very lost. And he was like, do you want to basically? And he basically helped me get into my foot in the door because he's a director. And yeah, that's what happened. But I didn't ask for a job, and he was kind enough to help me out. And I had zero mutual connections with him at that time. So really, he's like changed my life, honestly. So big shout out to Marlon. But I sent 400 connection requests on LinkedIn and got ghosted by most. So it's easy to get discouraged by so many people who just don't reply, and that's not a reflection of who we are. Sometimes they're too busy, sometimes they don't want to help out, and that is totally okay. It just takes one yes to get your foot in the door, and just keep trying and don't get discouraged, because it's a numbers game at the end of the day, and it just takes one yes to really change your whole life. And then at my internship, I was always really proactive and reaching out to other people within the company, being really proactive, hosting events for interns, and also asking other people to help, accepting help, and just like also asking other people if they needed help as well, and helping out with the leadership, organizing all hands meetings and stuff like that, getting on their radars, which all played a role in my full-time offer. And at the same time, I also was really into personal branding. So I posted a lot about my experiences on LinkedIn, and some of my posts got reshared by EA itself, by the whole company. And that gave me really good PR for me and the company, and which played a role in my return offer. And also I negotiated successfully, got everything I asked for. And so all of these played a role in how I got to where I am today. All throughout zero applying, I sent in 0 applications to my full-time role. So networking and really putting yourself out there in personal branding, really, really powerful.
Yes, I gotta completely agree with that. And to your point, I can totally relate to what Jerry mentioned about the 4 different tiers, which is really, really important to actually understand those 4 different tiers. And Jerry, I actually took that as a note. So that will be something that I will keep for the rest of my life, probably. So, to that point, Grace, when you mentioned that you didn't apply anything and you just got that through, I really can relate, because you mentioned one of the quotes that I did talk about on the previous meetup was, if you ask for a job, you get advice, and if you ask for an advice, you get a job. And this was a quote from a mentor that I actually learned from directly. And he told me this because if people are willing to spend time with you, they're willing to give you a job, because to them, their time is more important than money, right? So if you can get someone to spend time with you, they're most likely willing to do a job referral for you, or even get you to the hiring manager directly. So to that point, I see a lot of questions asking about how do I send messages on LinkedIn and whatnot. I'm sure John and Jerry, you guys seen that as well. So I have a question, a really, really curious question, right? Has anything changed in terms of networking and sending messages on LinkedIn before COVID-19 and during COVID-19 where we're in right now? What has changed, or what has not changed?
Yeah, I'll let one of you two go, because I've been first too much.
Yeah. Can I actually share my screen? I want to show you guys my LinkedIn message, my LinkedIn invitations.
Go for it. Go for it. Let me allow you to share screen. Okay, go for it.
All right, cool. All right, guys. I'm going to show you my LinkedIn invitations, and I want you guys to tell me what you notice. Okay? All right, let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. Can you guys can see my LinkedIn now, right? Okay, cool. I saw
Yeah, we can see. Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to go on to my invitations, right? Tell me one thing that you guys notice about the LinkedIn connection invitations. What do you guys notice? Right? the most common thing I hear is that people keep saying, oh, well, like LinkedIn personalized invites, everyone does that. That's something that like we need to think about the next strategy because everyone does that, right? Out of the people that you saw on my LinkedIn messages, guess what percentage of people do you think send actual messages? What percentage of people did you see who send messages? 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, right? Isn't that insane? If my inbox is representative of all the other hiring managers and recruiters who have personalized invites, right? Guess what percentage you think that they're going to have personalized invites? Probably the same, right? I have about 2,000 connection requests, of which I probably have about anywhere from about 100 to 200 personalized invites. If you can craft a personalized invite that isn't the, hey, you know, my name is Jerry. I'm currently a design student at XYZ. I'm currently trying to break into the design field. Please connect with me, right? Because out of the 5% of people who send invitations, that's the half that I get. Hi, Jerry. I currently see that you're working at Lucid. Can I please get a job? Hi, Jerry. I'm currently a student. Would love to get an internship. Can I get a job? But if you go into it with the mentality that we talked about before, right, where you're similar to what Grace was saying, asking for advice, where you're just trying to learn more before you even assume that you want to work at a company like Google, you're going to stand out all the way from 100% of people who send personalized or 100% of people who send invitations to 10% of people who send personalized invites to 5% of people who actually spend the time to actually put in a lot of thought and effort into those messages. That's how you stand out. Everyone always gets discouraged because they send out 10, 15, 20 connection requests and they go, man, no one replied. But the fact of the matter is that some hiring managers don't use LinkedIn. And if they don't use LinkedIn, then they're not going to reply. But that's just not a reflection on you. That's a reflection on them as users. So what is the actionable thing that you should do today if you're looking for a job? Who here's looking for a job? Type me in the chat if you're looking for a job or an internship. A lot of you guys, right? This is literally what I want you guys to do. Go onto LinkedIn, find the design managers, design hiring managers, recruiters, craft a personalized invite, and I want you to spend 15 minutes every day, heads down, put your phone away, right? Turn off Facebook and just spend time just reaching out to people. If you do this for 3 months and you tell me nobody was willing to hop on the phone with you, nobody was willing to invest into you, I will swim over, as John always likes to say, I will run over to where you are or I'll swim over to where you are. If you do that for 15 minutes every single day, that's all it takes.
Facts. I definitely agree with that. And I'll add on real quick. Another thing is this. Here, can I share my screen? Sorry, I know everyone's sharing their screen, but I'm gonna share my screen if that's cool.
Go for it. Go for it.
Y'all see my screen? Yeah.
Whoa, that's some throwback, man. Yeah.
Oh my
Here, watch
God.
this. Watch this. I guess who I did this to? This guy, Jerry. Watch this. Check this out. So I literally sent that message, right? The personalized invite. UCR, currently working at Snap, blah, 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 right? Same thing, connected. Then we connected on something that was outside of work too as well. Remember that it doesn't always have to be about work, okay? Literally kept going, literally stayed in this. Look, everybody, October 2017. Let's keep going down, right? And then I asked for a phone chat. Try to get on the phone with them. If anybody ever takes 15 to 30 minutes out of their day to speak with you, that means they want to help you. I still remember, actually, quick story, Grace is one of our mentees. She's a prime example of staying in touch and doing amazing things. So y'all are hearing some great advice from her. But anyways, look, I literally stayed in touch with Jerry. It literally goes on forever. Look at this, even about his Medium article, this is 2017, whatever, Snap, whatever. Look at that, it says I'm an inspiration, I'm still inspirational to him, whatever, right? Whatever. Look at this, then I asked him for a referral. This is 4 months, 5 months after, right? And guess what? He referred me. I know, bromance, right? But you see what I mean? So if you stay in touch with people like this, sorry, look at that. And you know what's so crazy? I actually visited him in 2018, literally after doing all this. And that's how actually I started working at I'll stop sharing. That's how I got into working at Google. And then I brought him to working at Wonsulting. You see what I mean? So everything comes into fruition as long as you stay in touch with each other, right? Always stay in touch. How many people do you think actually follow up with me, Jerry, and Grace too? How many people do you think actually follow up with us, percentage-wise? Probably 1%. 1%, less than 1%. And you know who's those 1% of people are? Those 1% of people for Jerry and I are mentees, aka like Grace, literally staying in touch all the time in regards to XYZ, in regards to design buddies, all these different things. Because if you stay in touch with them every 2 to 3 months, and when that opportunity arises, then you say, hey, I need help. You know, I saw this job. I really interested in getting an interview. How do I do it? Then they'll recommend you, and then they could even recommend you to whoever the hiring manager is. So that is why you always stay in touch. Grace, do you agree? I'm gonna hand it off to you.
Yeah, definitely. I do agree, staying in touch. And Jessica asked, I don't know which way to go. Yeah, definitely. I struggled with that before as well, but sometimes I like to. So the 400 people I reached out to and the 30 I've had coffee chats with were all hiring managers. They're all like senior managers or design directors. And I would actually remember, I have a really short-term memory sometimes. So I have a spreadsheet, I have a CRM on Notion, and that's how I keep track of everything I've talked with. Oh, snap. Ghost. I have that ghost too, Jerry. So I would also like update people like every few months, be like, hello, I thank you so much for your call, like taking your time to chat with me earlier. I landed this role. Thank you so much again for your help. We'll have to stay connected and things like that. And just like keep them updated about your life. And sometimes they'll stay updated as they'll like send you the updates as well, become friends and stuff. And sometimes like I will like send them like happy holidays, happy Thanksgiving, happy Christmas, happy Halloween, things like that. Just little things keep the connection warm. I also invite them to design buddies because in the community, that's just like new about 2020. And I feel like communities are definitely trending, is that people hang out in like these online spaces because they kind of lack that human connection online. So I invite them to design buddies, and then I invite them to chat, and that's how I kind of stay in touch with them, because it's like you're like in a shared office space or like a little shared virtual space. We can like casually chat, bump into them here and there without feeling like forced, without being too direct and stuff. So it's a great way to like join communities, to hang out with people, and I always invite people I've networked with in there. And I also ask people how I can help them out as well. And so no, I also try to make it like a human connection and make it like a friendship, because friends are like a two-way street. Same with networking. I use networking and making friends like interchangeably, because I just like making friends because people are human. And so I always ask them how I can help them out. And all times they want to be mentors and stuff. So that's how I got them into Design Buddies mentorship program and partner with ADPList, because we realized the need for that as well. So yeah, so not only is like two-way street, ask and help out and invite them and join communities and be involved in communities, and so I can stay in touch with everybody and join Design Buddies, because a lot of people are in there too.
Exactly. So to that point, Grace, I also want to just bring up something really interesting, is that the most successful people that we have seen on ADPList as mentees are the people who actually keep in touch with their mentors on the platform. So all of you on ADPList who are booking sessions and calling mentors from around the world, whether be these mentors are from Facebook, Google, all the FANG companies, or even just startups, right, that you want to be a part of, keep in touch with them. You never know what's going to happen someday, and you guys might be in touch again. So keep that connection warm. If you have already connected with a mentor on ADPList, that is what I would highly recommend you to do. And that's directly to Jerry and John. Thank you for sharing those advice. And I think that really resonates with our community, together with the design buddies that Grace has created, because this is where we connect. This is where ADPList will connect you with mentors, where you can actually keep in touch with them and actually even just hop on the first call with them. So there is already a mutual sort of passion that you guys are sharing there, and the conversation would be that awkward after all, as compared to some of the cold messages or cold calls, if you want to do that. All right, so thank you for sharing that, and I want to jump on, because I know that we're like a little bit fast on time there. So I want to jump on to next interesting question on the networking part a little bit before we talk about 2021, is that people consider like the guys who refer them as the hiring managers or decision makers in that sense, would we consider them to be a sponsor to that extent? So just for context, for people listening who doesn't know what the sponsor is, it does not mean that they give you money, but it's just that they can vouch for your work. They're like a mentor for life of sort. So would you, John and Jerry, this question is more towards for you. Would you guys consider a hiring manager or the person who refer you inside a sponsor for your career? And how do you exactly find that sponsor, a right sponsor?
Yeah, I would say for sure that they're sponsors. At the end of the day, a hiring manager is someone who's willing to invest into you, right? And at the end of the day, when they're making a hiring decision, they're making a conscious effort. They're taking action to say, hey, I believe in Felix or Grace or Jonathan enough that I want to bring them onto my team and cultivate them and grow them, right? So I think John can talk a lot about this, but the most important thing as you find and think about hiring managers is that common ground, right? And like, I'll let John talk about that because he's a god at that.
Yeah, I think common ground is so important, everybody, and how you establish common ground is so easy. Like, example, what do you guys like to do for fun? Tell me in the chat, what do you guys like to do for fun? Eat, paint, frisbee, eat. Okay. So who here likes doing those different things? What I would actually be doing right now is literally adding all those people that have very similar, have similarities that are just like you, and literally add each other. Like, for example, Felix, hey, Felix, I saw you like hiking and you're in the ADPList event today. I'd love to connect. Same thing, Ahmed. Oh, Ahmed, I saw you love Star Wars. I love Star Wars too. I love Star Wars so much. I have a Mandalorian little Grogu pen, right? Whatever, right? So I think that establishing a common ground is super, this is the way, right? Establishing common ground is extremely important. And if you're trying to get sponsored, I'm assuming, Felix, you're talking about like people getting sponsored to work in the States, or like just like a sponsor, like a champion?
Like a champion, yeah.
Like a champion, yeah. So that part is but yeah, finding ways to refund cyberpunk, that's very interesting. But you see what I mean? So when you establish that common ground with people, when you make friends instead of connections, it all comes into place, right? That's how you gain connections, you gain sponsors who will help you in your career. And like we said before, if someone takes 15, 30 minutes out of their day to help you, that means they want to help you and be your mentor or sponsor.
All right. Thank you so much, John. So I want to move on. I want to shift the conversation a little bit about moving forward from 2020, because this is the year-end closing event and we're moving into the new year. So we reflected on 2020, all the things that we have learned, and as well as the networking tips, which will be very, very helpful in 2021. So this question is to the three of you here on the panel. How do we move forward to 2021? Is there actually anything to move forward from 2020? And what do you guys hope for in 2021, be it for the community, the guys watching here? Is there any advice? And basically we can start off with, how do we move on to 2021, and what are some of the things that you would hope for in 2021? So Jerry, you can go on first.
Yeah, at least as it relates to as I'm thinking about more broadly, I hope that the messaging and the principles that we teach at Wonsulting is something that is taught everywhere, right? When I showed you guys my invitation, my connection request for LinkedIn, right? A lot of you guys were like, wow, like there's no way that there's that few people who send personalized invite. Wow, like that's really how you got interviews, by not applying, by reaching out to people. Those principles, I hope that is something that's ingrained in your guys' careers, right? That at the end of the day, that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that you have people like Grace, like Jonathan, like Felix, like myself to help you along that way, right? And so this directly ties into the work that we're doing at Wonsulting. We have a bunch of programs and partnerships that we're cooking on the back end, and we're so excited to start launching them to help you guys land into your careers, because we get it. Job search is tough. It's a rejection game for you to find that one yes. The more that you can struggle through the pile of no's for you to find that one yes is something that the more that you can struggle through it, the better off that you'll be. And like, honestly, we have so much in development that I wish we could share, but honestly, just keep following us, and we'll hopefully be able to share the details soon.
Yeah, I would say for 2021, everybody, there's a lot of opportunities coming. So if you haven't gotten something at the end of December, it's totally fine. Like a lot of companies are opening up in regards to what they're specifically recruiting for. So make sure to honestly stay in touch with everybody. I think it's so important to network right now because what's going to happen is this: the mistake people make is once a position opens, then they go network. They're like, oh my God, I gotta go network. I gotta go network with Grace from EA. There's an EA position open, whatever, right? And then the position closes and you're like, oh my God, I didn't get a referral, right? Why you have to network right now is because you establish relationships early, and then when the position opens, you can automatically just go reach out to them and be like, hey, like, like, as you know, we spoke on this date. I'd love to connect with you in regards to XYZ. I saw this position open. I'd love to get, your insight in regards to how I get an interview. And then bam, that's when you get the interview. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm telling you all, network as best you can. What I will be doing right now is actually sending little holiday cards to people. Just being like, hey, the holidays are coming up. Just wanted to wish you a happy holidays. This holiday season, I hope you have a wonderful day. Honestly, I would specifically do that to a bunch of people who are in design or any different field, because then you establish rapport with people, which can ultimately lead to a connection or even a recommendation. So yeah, look at that. Everyone's connecting. I love that.
Yeah, I have another strategy, like not networking, but having people, this thing can get people to network to you. So it's like the other way around. Is called personal branding, especially as a designer. I definitely feel like a lot of people are out of the job. So I feel like a lot of people are also hopping into design. There's so many boot camps making so much money from designers, like career switching and stuff. So I feel like there's a lot of junior designers out there looking for a job, but personal branding is a way that you can help yourself stand out. And what personal branding is to really express your personality online and try to give value to people. And personal branding, essentially, how do you make people feel, and what do people say about you when you leave the room? And so that can be anything you kind of want the impression them to feel. And so I like to post a lot on LinkedIn and Instagram, especially in design or any field. It's like post about my experiences at EA, what I've learned, not revealing any NDA information, but just being careful with that. But like what I've learned through building design buddies, through EA, through rejections, through my interviews, what conferences I go to, and things like that. Because a lot of my posting on my stories, failures and what I've learned from that, and how I successes, but also the failures that took me to successes and things like that. And these are that kind of like that post that kind of went viral. So really focusing on storytelling and personal branding, and just like kind of helping others and giving value. So I always try to share what I've learned. It's a great way to stand out, and that also helped me being hired again at EA, because I really liked the team really liked the content I posted on LinkedIn. They personally really complimented me on that, so that also helped as well. So that's another way you can stand out. And I feel like I do see a trend in hiring managers kind of looking into junior designers, just because there's a stereotype, well, not stereotype, but this is what I heard, that they're really like eager to learn and open-minded. So I feel like a lot of you are pretty new to design, and this is like your advantage because you're like super curious about everything. And this is like a great thing for design, because design is like always changing. So the ability to like enthusiasm to learn is something you should carry on for the rest of your life. And especially in design, if you work anywhere in tech, even engineering, and don't be worried if just because you're new, but you're new and you're super eager to learn. So make sure you show that during your interviews and all throughout your job as well, to help you get promotions and climb up the ladder and everything like that too. So yeah, so personal branding, and being curious and open-minded, and being humble, being self-aware, and knowing what you don't know, but also knowing your strategy, how to correct these deficiencies you have. And just being self-aware, but also being really curious and eager to learn is definitely a skill to carry on when, especially in hiring and after you land your job, and to progress in your career and get promoted along the way too. So self-awareness, personal branding, and being open-minded and curious all the time.
All right, thank you all so much. And I'll just go to the last question for the sake of time, and then we can open up 10 minutes of Q&A for anyone in the chat to jump in, the comment section, and then give us your questions, and we would be happy to answer them. So John, Jerry, and Grace, we are closing the year, and you guys gave really amazing advice, which is why we primarily invited you to this last panel. We are very excited. So if there is a magic wand right now that I can give you guys, I don't have a magic wand here right now with me, but if I can give you guys a magic wand and just wave over everyone in this room with one piece of advice for 2021, what would that be? And how would that look like?
Grace, you go first.
Yeah, I guess don't be afraid to reach out. For me, I was so afraid, like kind of going back to networking, because I heard this from someone else, but like your network is your net worth, because you never know who you might be connected to and what opportunities you get. So don't be afraid to reach out. People don't respond. People don't give good vibes. It can like be like, thank you, next. I do that. So yeah, and also remember to live a balanced life, because it's easy to get caught up in networking, job searching, and feel like you're just like screaming in the void and stuff like that. And don't just always make sure to take time for yourself and take breaks and do something that makes you happy every day. And also, like, don't listen to people who tell you say no, tell you can't do something, like my professors, every single one of them, and use that as fuel to prove them wrong. Because oftentimes, like when I talk to other designers, they're like, oh, my parents don't think design is like a paying field, or like my professors don't think I should pursue design, or my art professors think I'm a bad designer. But you don't have to listen to them. You know yourself best, and just yeet them out, not yeet them out, but like yeet their advice out, and just follow what you like the best. And because when you're happy, you do your best work and end up being paid more, whatever people, like, regardless of what people tell you.
Grace is a vibe. Am I right, guys? Grace is a
full vibe.
She is.
And how do we follow up after that? No, I'm just kidding. If there's one thing that I'd say is just know that you can do it, right? Like, it's such a basic cliche advice, but I come from a low income first gen background where I never believed that I would have my first job out of Google. I never believed that I'd be able to talk to 150 of you guys about my career. So, and I hope that one day that I could continue to share my story to help inspire the next generation of leaders, and just know that you can just don't be the ones to reject yourself. Let the companies do that. Because at the end of the day, you guys are all too smart and you guys care too much about your careers for for you to just reject yourself.
Awesome. Love your tips, Grace and Jerry. Grace said, don't do drugs. What I would say, my last ending piece of advice, everybody, you all are taking the extra steps in your career to get there, because you know what? It's 7:00 p.m. Pacific time here in California, wherever you are. You're taking the first steps, because people who are not proactive wouldn't be here, right? So each and every one of you are taking proactiveness and utilizing it to your advantage. What I would say is, especially for the new year, is to create a vision board for all the goals that you have in mind. What I would do, actually, and this is what I do, and people make fun of me for doing it, but I would recommend this to all of you. Go send a message to someone who you look up to, or whatever. Send them a message and say something that you want to accomplish for next year. I did this to Dixie D'Amelio for TikTok, and I said, Dixie, I'm gonna get 50K followers on TikTok by end of month. Sent it to her last week. She didn't respond, obviously, but it happened, right? Because the thing is, you can go look at it and say, oh my gosh, I had this goal in mind that I specifically wanted to do, and bam, I was able to accomplish it. Like, I would send a message to Chris Do, being, Chris Do, I'm gonna go get a job at Twitch, I don't know, wherever, right? And I'm gonna make it happen. Message, yeah, Gary Vee, I don't know, whoever, right? Because then you have that goal in mind. You're like, okay, now I gotta go accomplish it. Another thing as well is ADPList, Design Buddies, Wonsulting. We're all here for each and every one of you to support you in any way that you can. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help, because at the end of the day, if you never ask, you never know. If you never ask, the answer is always no. So always just ask. Can you shout out for Kardashians? Yeah, sure, Daniel, go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much, John, Jerry, and Grace, for those amazing advice into 2021 that we can all carry with us as we ride into the sunsets of 2020, which has been a really crazy year. And personally, for myself, I've met a lot of people during this time, and it's taught me a lot. Actually, a lot of you here in the call, I actually met you from the first, I believe, coffee hours, and all of you have taught me a lot about community building, and just taught me a lot about just being a person, just being there for someone. I think that's fundamentally what being human is about, and I think that's what Jerry, John, and Grace has always been preaching, is just being there, just being present, and just show up, regardless of anything. Right. So let's end the call end the session today with some Q&As. If anyone has any questions, you can feel free to comment down below. We don't see any questions so far. Okay, everyone just say, let us know what, okay. Yeah, so there's no questions. And I would like to share a little bit about, okay, we would like to, someone just asked, what's your favorite color? All right, you guys can reply. Okay, someone asked, is paying for LinkedIn Premium worth it? Okay, maybe
No,
Gary or John, go for it. Go for it.
Don't pay for it. Next question.
Don't pay for it. Next question. Okay, posters on Jonathan's wall. Where do we get that, Jonathan?
Posters. You know why I have posters? Oh, I love talking about this story. I know I'm a fifth grade classroom. You know why? Every interview. Yep. So in interviews, I used to have this on my back wall. 90% of guys would mention, 80% of guys would mention this one, the basketball one. I'd literally say, oh yeah, which one's your favorite poster? And then bam, we talk about posters for the first 5 minutes. That's why I have posters. That's the only reason why. That's the icebreaker.
That common ground, exactly. Oh my God, I love that. So someone just asked Jerry, can you share the template for networking? And I would help Jerry answer that. Please follow Wonsulting. Jerry's and John is going to give all the advice there. Am I right, Jerry? Follow you guys. Follow Wonsulting.
Follow us on IG. Talk to us there. I want to be respectful of everyone's time, so I'll be sure to share with you guys there.
All right, then I will close up the session today. Thank you all for joining. And before we leave, we would have to take a selfie, mandatory selfie, and then an end announcement for this session. So Winona, can you help us take a selfie?
Yep.
All right, get your camera on, guys. Okay.
3, 2, 1. That's first page. I don't know what page you're on, so pose. 3, 2, 1. Hang on. Okay, come closer to the camera. Hold on one more time. It's also on blink, so I took a new one. Okay, now it's just like black hole of nobody. And we're done.
Someone just said that his or her jaw hurts for no reason. Anyway, guys, fun fact. Every single time we take a photo, people will start dropping off. I'm not sure if they're shy or, you know, camera shy or whatever that is, but people start dropping off whenever we say camera time. All right. I want to end this call with an announcement. All right, really exciting. So next year, ADPList and a lot of communities like design bodies will be coming together, including I would love to invite Wonsulting as well to come together to provide, you know, what we would call the Genius Hours. So that would begin in 2021, the Genius Hours, which would include masters from their own fields like John, Jerry, and Grace to share a little bit through about what they're masters at through a presentation or workshop style. So that is coming to all of you in 2021. So stay tuned. With that said, I wish everyone a happy holidays, have a great new year, and, you know, just have fun in the process. That's the most important thing. So all of you, thank you all for joining, and let's stay in touch on LinkedIn, ADPList, and have a great holiday. Happy holiday, guys. See ya. So John, Jerry, and Grace, let's stay back after this, and the rest of the team.
Cool. All right, everybody, have a good one. See you on LinkedIn.
Bye, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
See y'all.
Ooh, bye.
Stay positive and test negative.
Oh my Lord. I can't believe you just said that.
Everybody's talking about sex. Everybody's talking
Whoa,
about
Felix.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Really?
no
Whoa.
one really wants to
I
fight
mean, we
with
gotta
anyone
end the
connect.
session
Before
somehow,
they even
right?
look at you, they move on to the next, and I know. Then they say, don't you worry, I'm the one. Then the very next day they said they're done. And I don't wanna listen to the shit you spun. No, I don't want to listen to the shit you